Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, we welcome you to another version of the Big Biz Show. And as we like to say around these here parts,
no, we don't.
A big ol' howdy to ya.
That is the Day Trader Trio. I am Costa, that's Mary Bird Godwin, of course, Sully.
I don't know if there's anybody around, look, you may be watching us in New York City, you may be listening to us across the Global American Forces Network. I don't know that anybody in San Diego, where we broadcast from, has ever said a big ol' howdy to you, except for the Lakeside Rodeo. So it's really interesting.
They're going to now.
Because on the map, you'll see San Diego in the lower left corner.
Yep.
Beach community. But when you're really in the microcosm of San Diego, there's a beach community.
Yes.
But anything east of the 5 may as well be Texas and New York. I mean, like I used to have a bumper sticker, no life east of the 5.
I beg to differ, Mr. Sullivan.
Because you live where?
I live out by San Diego State. 921.
East of the 5.
East of the 5.
East of the 15.
It brings back to a gentler time.
I walked into a restaurant recently in La Jolla, California, right on the coast.
Oh, hoi polloi.
92037 is the zip code there.
How do you know this?
Because that's where my in-laws live. And
so you got it made.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
My gravy train. They live in La Jolla. Anyhow, I walked into a restaurant there and I said, "Hey, reservation Costa, party of 6." And the maitre d' said, "Oh, Mr. Costa, a big old howdy to you."
No, that's crap. Boom. Nice. At the Chart House. Are you sure it wasn't the Char House in La Mesa? Totally different.
Great burgers.
Totally different. Howie Font, our Wall Street analyst here in New York City, where it is balmy. 98 degrees, I'm assuming. Howie, how are you this morning? Good to see you. Actually, tonight, or wherever it is there, in the other part, in the Middle East. So, do you remember on Anchored Man?
Oh, yeah.
Anchored Man, when Steve Carell was doing the weather, he was talking about the weather in Chicago in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Or the Middle West.
In the Middle East.
Hey, so great to talk to you. Boy, it was interesting because now that I don't do, and I bet you feel the same way, that we don't do talk radio anymore.
Yeah.
Where I was like, people would come to me to talk to me about politics or business because you're always prepping because you're always just watching CNN, Fox, MSNBC, Newsmax, CNN, Fox, because you want to get the real story and try to get, and try not to be biased on the thing. You can't get it from one or the other. But it was interesting being glued to the television the other day. I think it was on Friday with Donald Trump and the little guy that doesn't have a spot. But what's interesting, is it better dead than red? What are we looking at here, Howie? What's happening? Because it looks like he, like we said, wags the dog, tail wags the dog. He creates, it's almost like a narcissist.
He's a little bit of a narcissist.
Creates an issue only to solve the issue.
Let me go full economic news because Friday was incredible and there were a lot of developments, but I don't want to be a political commentator. That is a filled up space, I would say.
Yeah.
What's interesting is, we talked about the CHIPS Act and we talked about, Build Back Better during the Biden years, and they were going to give all this money to companies like Intel and Taiwan Semi and basically trying to get American chips off the ground in the United States. Well, the Trump administration is now not considering, they're kind of full on proposing now that the government will give that money and it will give maybe even a little bit more money, but we're going to get equity back instead. We're going to get to a 10% stake. So that's kind of what's in the news.
So, that's they're called the China Act grants, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what that's called, the China Act?
Chip Act.
It's not the China Act? I was being humorous there, Howie. It's supposed to be a little...
Sorry, I messed that up.
Just thought I'd throw a little humor.
No, what's interesting here is that
I got one for you.
You were talking about going to...
Wait for it.
Ooh, there we go.
Okay, thank you. Just my attempt at little China Act.
How are you crushed him?
I did not know that.
Oh my God. What's going on today?
I promise we are going to talk business with Howie Font. Keep it here. show rolls on. We are live from the Loft 100 studios in sunny Southern California. That is the Day Trader Trio. As David Bowie would sing, changes. I'm Costa.
Wow.
That's Mary Everett Godwin. And of course,
China Act.
Sully.
Gosh.
You okay
That
there?
did not land.
I thought that was good. I thought, just only because it would be, what did Donald Trump used to, he always used to say something to piss everybody off during COVID. The China virus.
The China virus.
China virus.
China virus.
That's what I was
China
calling
virus.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
I was going for the China. Cheddar. I was going for the
You
cheddar.
have to do it with the accent.
China virus.
I don't know. That's because all I could think about was what he's just called the China virus. It's just like it was just so. Well, I don't care what side of the fence you're on. Man, it's just like the Republicans were like, and the Democrats like, and it was just cringeworthy.
Don't bomb us.
I thought they called it. We're calling this the China Steals from Us Act.
It was spelled CHYNA.
Yeah, right. Cheddar. No, it's CHEDA. Cheddar.
Yes,
Cheddar. Cheddar.
Yeah.
All right, so this makes us the largest single stakeholder in Intel. Let's do some infotainment here. Howie, you and I are up to our waist in this almost every day when we're off the air. If you are taking a stake in a publicly traded company, the idea is for you to take less than 5% or less than 10%, and one's the lesser of two evils. I'll tell you why. If you're a 5% shareholder, it makes you an affiliate of the company. Meaning every single time you sell stock, you have to go through guidelines and rules. Howie, touch on that one first before we go to Insider.
Yeah, it's been a huge concern because the first thing that critics were saying about this move was, whoa. So the government is going to sit on the board of Intel? Is that what's happening? Because 10%, you're definitely getting a board seat.
Or at least a viewing seat, right? To sit. I mean, but it's the U.S. government. Who does it?
But Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has said no, we're not going to do that. There's no governance. We're getting an economic non-voting share because we should be able to participate in the gains as U.S. taxpayers if we're going to put all this money in. That's all they're saying.
Isn't that how it should be? But isn't that how that's the only way it could be though, Howie? Right? I mean, without there starting to be a state-controlled chip company. Right?
Yeah, I mean that's the issue, right? If this was 16 years ago, and one of the networks you said earlier, Fox News would probably have a headline, Socialist Obama picks winners and losers. I mean, they said that about the solar company. I mean, this is not usually the government's not good at this. They don't have a good track record. So Trump gets a little deal making cred, so the Republicans will back him, but it's not a normal thing for our government to do. This is very, very out of China's playbook.
Is this a bailout of Intel?
Well, wait, before we get there, let me land this plane first. So that's an affiliate, 4.9%. If you're a 5% owner of a stock, you're an affiliate. If you're a 10% owner, you're called an insider. Now, it makes us an insider. Howie, what are the additional rules there? You can it's a liquidity rule, isn't it? If we ever, so as you said, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says we're going to make some money here. Well, to make some money here, there's only two ways to do it because nobody's in the business of buying stock. Everybody's in the business of selling stock.
Yep.
That's the business that we're all in. Now, we can hypothecate in other words, we can borrow against the shares, which is what wealthy people do. And let's say you have a big exit. Bill Gates has a big exit, owns his company. Stock's worth $1 billion. He doesn't go cash in $1 billion. He cashed in a little bit, then he borrows against the rest of it because there's no taxes when you borrow money. It's a brilliant strategy. But so what is our path to liquidity? Because liquidity is what he's looking for. He says we should get an equity in return for the substantial grants awarded to Intel. So he's looking for a path to liquidity. He's looking for an exit strategy. I'm giving them this. We're getting stock here. Why are we giving stock? Not because we love the stock, because someday we want to sell the stock and it's going to go to the taxpayers. Talk about the restrictions.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of up in the air right now, the actual deal terms. But if it's anything like the auto bailouts, that was literally just we're paying you back out of our cash. We're paying this down plus some interest. I think what Howard Lutnick is talking about is something more along the lines of, no, we're actually going to hold the stock, and then one day we're going to be out of it. We're going to be done.
Well, but
I don't know if that holding period is 10 years, if it's 20 years. How long do you want the government owning a piece of?
Well, but I agree. But the out of it though, getting out of the stock as a 10% shareholder is significantly different than you and I owning $500 worth of Intel stock. Because if we own $500,
oh no, it'll destroy the stock price.
Well, not just no. That's a great point. But that wasn't the point I was talking about. That also is a great point. If we own $500 worth of stock, and the stock goes to where now I own $1,000 worth of stock, I can sell it and get my money tomorrow. If you're a 10% shareholder, or a 5% shareholder is an affiliate or 10% is an insider, aren't there restrictions on how to liquidate? And if that's going to be, that's going to send a signal to the market, which makes the exacerbated point you just made, it exacerbates the point you just made, where the thing is a dog without a bone and drops like a tummy tuck on a plus size model, or like Dick Cheney's hunting partner, or like acid before a Woodstock concert, or like a 3-foot, stay with me, putt. Cheddar.
Well, okay, but Howie, does this
so I mean, listen, I think the key thing is you're getting in bed with the mob. I mean, the U.S. government gets to break all the rules, Tully. So I don't think that those will be concerns. I think they'll come in, they'll wait for the stock to double after they put in all this money and let 5 years go by, and then they'll suck it right out when they're done.
You know what's funny? You said get rid of the mob. I thought you were talking about China. I'm not kidding. Then I realized he's talking about the U.S. government. What are you talking about?
Well, now it's like every time there's a message from the United States government, you're going to hear bum 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 bum.
Yeah, right.
I mean, is the Intel logo now going to be on the seal of the President of the United States? Is it going to be?
Yeah, this press conference brought to you by.
Thank you. How soon until other companies kind of go, hey, remember what you did for Intel?
Couldn't you do that for municipal?
Yeah.
This is called, so in China, this is called the National Champions System. So they'll take 5 important industry, electric power generation, AI chips, water, power plants, biotech.
Yeah.
And they'll pick like 5, 10, maybe 100 companies, and they'll just give them billions of dollars. And they'll say, go to town. We need to build up this industry right now, like yesterday.
Okay.
And China's built a lot of world-leading companies like that because when China does that, the Chinese government has a seat on the board. They own 60% of the company.
Hold on.
They tell you what to do. I mean, yeah.
Is this Howie? Okay, I believe it was before you were born or when you were very small. Judge Thomas Penfield Jackson did an antitrust ruling against Microsoft in 1999, right bursting the dot-com bubble, right at the end of the dot-com bubble, when you heard the Netscapes and the Napsters and the MySpaces and the America Onlines and the CompuServe. And then suddenly, look what the Internet 2.0 was full of Facebooks and full of AI and everything else. It's starting to be a great thing. I think that this is American Technology 2.0. This is a vote of confidence for American Technology 2.0. Intel is the only company that produces cutting-edge chips. SoftBank just doubled down at the same time. What was it? $2 billion? How much?
$2 billion. 5% of the company. So the stock's up 5% on the news.
Well, now look, isn't that interesting?
They own 2% of the company.
Well, listen. So buying the rumor, selling the news, right? So doesn't that double down on what you're saying here? Is it that the government's taking a chance? We're going to take a chance. This is almost like buying a savings bond. It's backed by the full faith of the U.S. government right now. Why wouldn't you put it in your portfolio? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the opposite of capitalism, but I think it does make Intel a strong buy. No, seriously. I mean, SoftBank is doing a $2 billion bet on buy the rumor, sell the news. They think that, if this company has the backing of the U.S., they're going to, why would the U.S. put huge permitting obligations on it? Why would they, make them do 10 years worth of paperwork to open up another foundry in the United States? They want to do one in Arizona. I mean, there's this implication that everything is going to go smoothly for this market participant and screw the rest of their competitors. So you buy the government-backed one and you short the competitors. I mean, is the trade.
Howie, this is all making my head spin. What is this going to do for future government investments?
Yeah, that's a really good point because that is a. I mean, you just said this is the opposite of capitalism. I mean, but at the same time, I got a warm feeling about Intel right now. I'm not saying that I'm actually upset about.
I don't want to know
right
about
now.
your warm feelings. Okay.
I mean, about investing in it. It's like, wow.
I love you.
It's like you just game the system.
Mary, the point you make is, do you remember? A dozen years ago, it was a big talking point in the news. Not Stellantis, that's the car company. I'll remember it, but there was a solar company that the government put $400 million into, it was just mocked and shock and chagrin. How could the U.S. government, pick a winner and loser like that? And I guess it's it's making it okay if the Republicans are doing it too. It's just saying, Mary, the government invests in private companies now. We pick ones that we like and we say, go forth and do your thing. If you're worried about government control or people, encroaching with power, I think it's something to worry about. I think you should have a free market and let people make their choices and do the best job they can. Why couldn't Intel get this? Intel is a $1 trillion company. Why couldn't they get this financing themselves?
Right.
Why, why is this going on the back of U.S. taxpayers?
Hey, tomorrow I want you to talk about why it's not a bad time to invest as a long-term investor, because this is one of the reasons. Because it's an ever-changing football field here.
Yes.
But at the same time, if you just look at the open-air indicators, it makes a big difference. Howie, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow.
Market analyst Howie Font, he is always with us here on the Big Biz Show. Speaking of that, don't you go anywhere. Much more coming your way. Big Biz Show continues live from the Loft 100 studios. Those gentlemen you see right there on your television programming screen, Day Trader Trio. We get them every single day with us here on the show. Back here at the bar, it's Costa, it's Marybird Godwin, and it's Sully. And he's taking pictures for the family album. What are you doing?
I'm right here. Just look. Okay, just making sure. Prove it. My good friend Dan Negroni, who has not only saved my life several times in terms of fitness and said, hey, you're a taco shy of 500 pounds. Maybe you should get on a bike. 2, maybe you
were on the bike. Come on.
You should be on the cover of Weight Watchers magazine.
There you go.
So now he's sitting next to Mike,
Yeah.
who also is brought to you by.
What?
Every day you have. Are you getting scooch on the side? Is this Plugola Payola?
Isn't that Marky Mark?
Just sitting here stretching my pecs. That's
Marky
all.
Mark.
Hey, Professor Dan, CEO, coach, consultant, chief launch officer, as well as college professor.
And new grand.
And Grandpa. Oh, Dan. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah. It's interesting to me because I always press you on this because we're always talking about. Let's just go back to millennials. That was the go word 7-8 years ago, 9 years ago. Then it was Gen Xers, Gen Y, Gen Z. But you're the first person ever focused on, okay, we got to tell them how to act. How about the fogies? How do the fogies running the business have to address these?
It's almost like reverse engineering.
And now,
I'm glad you remember that. You must have taken a lot of
I know I do, and I'll tell you why. Because you said at one point, and this really stuck with me, and I can't say that I haven't stolen this in a keynote, but I've also attributed it to you, is at one point you said 75% of our customers, I remember the exact number, 75% of our customers, 75% of our employees are going to be are millennial in the next 5 years. Was that the number?
Yeah, that was about.
No, if you think about that, back then, it was probably 8-9 years ago when you said that, I think, right?
Almost 11.
Well, 11 years ago.
11, yeah.
So 11 years ago, he says 75% of your customers and 75% of your employees are going to be millennial in the next 5 years. That was so earth-shattering. And what it said to me was, these guys, this young group has to kind of figure out how to get into the old school. But I almost think more importantly, or as importantly, it's the old school that has to get prepared to deal, because you're not going to change the stripes on a tiger or a zebra.
And work is so different. I mean, I just started working with a new company that works asynchronously. I don't even know if you can pronounce or spell that word, but
I don't even know what it means.
That means everyone works by themselves and you all come together online with technology using Slack and some tools, and you have to send videos and you have to do things.
And Zoom calls are how you meet, right?
And Zoom calls are how you meet, and it is so different. And it was such a huge adjustment. And I found myself out there talking about Gen Zs and millennials without a lot of real world experience. And now I got it.
Yeah.
It was painful.
Painful?
God, yeah.
Do you remember?
So different.
You and I had talked about this on one of our thousands of miles of bicycles we've ridden together in our lives about homeschooling back when our kids were versus going to traditional schools in terms of societal experience. Homeschool, you might get a better education, but are you equipped for society at that point? Well, this is the homeschooling of work. It seems to be working. It seems to be happening, or is it?
I don't know. I mean, I think the jury's still out. I think it's hybrid work is where it's going to be at, right? There's going to be a mix, and trying to figure out how to do both things at once at the same time. Both things can be true. Working from home can be really great, and working from home can be really
it's isolating.
And really tough.
But it was just, I think, in the last year or two when a lot of these big companies that went remote because of COVID.
Back to work.
Then they all said, you're coming back in. And maybe people are getting a day or two at home, which I think the hybrid is a good balance because people had the taste of it during COVID. and then they didn't want to give up being able to go on a Friday to do their dry cleaning and their whatever.
But how are people adapting to that? As Mary said, COVID, maybe you got the job during COVID and you started remotely.
Right.
And then there was the snap of reality. Oh, come on.
And the follow-up is, why was there a snap of reality? Is that because we didn't think we were getting what we're paying for? Or?
Lots of questions. I think the numbers show that more companies are putting people back to work 3 and 4 days, but you can't put the genie back in the bottle, right?
Right.
So the hybrid is here to stay because people really like the flexibility, women working, families, young families, and they found out that productivity did not really lessen even though we were working from home. It actually sometimes increased because you didn't have a commute or things like that. And so figuring out the balance of hybrid work and how to make young people feel good, to your point, which is they never worked in a place, they just worked, pajamas on the bottom, they started.
Yeah.
And so figuring it out has been really tough, and few people have really figured it out to maximize culture in the workplace and get everyone on board and feeling like they're growing. And it hurts the most for growth companies.
So enter coaching.
Yeah.
Enter coaching on both sides.
Yeah.
Talk about that, because it used to be a luxury and now it's almost a necessity.
Yeah, I think it used to be a luxury, and it was really interesting. You'd just do it, like I did it once every other week or something for executives, and you did it when you thought you needed it.
Like when performance dipped or revenue.
Right,
revenue
like usually it was a
dipped.
bad thing, not a good thing. And we kind of found out that actually having a coach in your corner really works. And so the question is, how do you do it consistently, especially for these young folks that are always online and have access to technology? How do you give it to them all the time? And so now what we're seeing in the workplace is really trying to find AI tools to create a coaching system using technology and people combined to really drive performance in the workplace.
We were just talking to Daniel Harris with IronBird, who was a private aviation consultant, and it was about time being more valuable than money sometimes.
Yeah.
Speed has replaced stability, as you say.
Yeah.
Talk about that in the workplace and coaching, because you can't just wait till the shoe drops.
It's like I always answer on this show, yes.
Yeah.
You think you need both. You got to find the balance, and each person needs it in a different percentage of both. And so you got to be, there are tools now that can do assessments, like Marley, that can figure out what people want to do in the workplace, how they work, and you can figure it out super quickly. I could say to Marley, for example, how would Sully and I deal with a conflict? And if I have your assessment, my assessment, it comes up. I read it before I talk to you. I've saved 2 hours worrying about it and probably 20 minutes in my conversation.
So wait, Marley.
Yeah.
Is that a software? Is that an AI tool?
It's an AI
app?
software.
It's an app?
It's an AI app that is based on performance, and it does an assessment, and you can put your whole team in
on
there.
all the people. So I would fill, everyone here
Oh,
would
here
fill
we
it
go.
out. I know.
Oh, here
Okay,
comes-
but wait a
Oh,
minute.
Marley Burt Godwin. Yeah.
I think I just got a job.
I quit.
I got a gig. Yeah.
When you say hybrid has replaced hallway conversations, what do you mean by that?
Well, I think hybrid is, you got to have hybrid to have the hallway conversations. You got to have some
So
in person.
define hybrid. Is that the AI and the...
Hybrid? No, hybrid is basically remote work and in-office work at the same time. That's what hybrid is. Right. And so technology tools allow hybrid work to really work well. That's about working asynchronously. I have a team in Australia. I can do all my work. I can put it in Slack. I can give them all the documents. I can tell them. I can send them a video about what I think. They can wake up and start working on it even when I'm having dinner. And then the next morning I can get going on it. And that's how these high-tech companies work. Crazy hard. I've never seen people work as hard in my life.
So what you're saying is no longer coach reactively.
Coach integrated.
Integratively.
Yeah.
Just make it part of the... It's
seamless.
It's breathing.
It's part of the culture. It's part of the fabric. It's a tool like a pencil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of like tools, my
Oh,
Marley.
sorry, Mike.
And my co-host Marley Burt Godwin. Are
Exactly.
you? Let's
I'm already signed
let's
up.
Marley this crap. Let's
While you guys
do
were
it.
talking, I already got an account.
He is Dan Negroni, speaker, CEO, coach, consultant, chief launch officer, and newest Dan. That's right, it's a grandfather. You can check him out at dannegroni.com. His book, Chasing Relevance, 6 Steps to Understand, Engage, and Maximize Next Generation Leaders in the Workplace. All right, keep it right here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show right after this. We continue live from the Loft 100 studios here in beautiful sunny Southern California. Hope everyone's having a great day. We certainly are, because we get to listen to the Day Trader Trio every single show. No lessons, self-taught, best in the business.
And this is their song called Big O Howdy to You.
Pretty much. Back here at the bar, Costa, Merriman, Godwin, and Sully.
Yeah. Okay, so finally time to talk about something fun on this program other than business with a barroom slant. Have you ever flown private?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Do tell.
Eating in La Jolla.
That came out like such a pompous ass.
Tell
I'm
us up.
sorry. No, a friend of mine just bought a Bombardier jet. Yeah, is that okay? Yeah, and I was flown back.
Is there propeller? Is it turboprop or is it real jet?
It's a big rubber band you have to twist. No, it's a jet.
What friend is this?
It's a friend.
And
of mine.
do I know this friend?
You don't. You should though. He flew me back to New York
Did you
last
just finger
year.
pistol me?
He flew me back to New York last year for my 60th birthday celebration.
Well, hey.
To New York.
To New York.
What'd you do for his
Do you
60th birthday party?
know what the stab is if you were to fly private? How many people are on the plane?
4 of us.
Okay, so if you were to fly, let's say a CJ3, or even just a CJ, you couldn't. You have to strap. CJ3 to New York, that's about a $64,000 flight.
Yeah.
Round trip.
Oh, without a doubt.
This is for your, so there's $1,000 for actually $896 per year for your 60th birthday.
What's a CJ?
Exactly.
Wow. Would you rather have the $896 per year? Or
Absolutely.
Who's our guest today?
We are so stoked. We have Dan Harris with us, managing partner, IronBird Partners, in studio with us. Actually did a podcast from the Loft 100 studios yesterday.
Well, and what's
Came back
interesting,
today.
this is about the world of flying private aviation, right?
Yeah.
It's not out of reach. It's not for everyone. I will tell you, I got to a point in my life where my time is worth more than my money because of all the stuff that we do. And it's worth I don't go to dinner every night. I don't take a lot of vacations, unfortunately for you guys. But if I have to, I'll budget in flying private, because if I have to fly to Nashville or I have to fly to even Los Angeles, it's a 15 to 18 minute flight to LA.
Yeah.
And the only time I almost ever lost my life was flying to Los Angeles when the landing gear didn't go down, not once but twice in 2 separate aircraft. It's weird when you're flying and you see 8 fire trucks, 2 foam trucks, and lights. But I will tell you, if you can swing it, I would say don't necessarily do it. You have to assess it because it's not right for everybody. Hence, companies like IronBird Partners, because you just democratized private aircraft, I think.
Yeah.
Because it does work, but it doesn't make all the sense. It wouldn't make sense unless we were chartering the plane also, because I fly maybe 70 hours a year, which is a lot of flying, but you charter 300 hours a year.
Yep.
So the other 230 hours pay for the other stuff to where, look at it's like buying a boat. Let's face it, you're not going to be ahead. But you guys have democratized this where it doesn't have to be such a decision.
Yeah.
It's a time decision.
Yep.
Talk about what you guys do.
Our goal, we're advisors to clients that are flying privately, either someone that wants to buy an airplane, buy a jet card, a fraction of an airplane, or just charter.
Yeah.
We sit on the client side, where a lot of the companies, the bigger net jets, the wheels up, they're trying to sell you a product.
Well,
right?
let's educate for a second. And by the way, all the things I just said are all the decisions you have to make when you're going to fly private. You've taken, this is what I'm saying is right. I've got to do a full metric algorithm and to say, is it worth doing this or is it worth going private? With respect to net jets and those type of things, those are called subscription cards, whereby you put a big chunk of money down and you basically work it off, right?
There's basically a pyramid of private aviation, right? On the top of that pyramid, the most expensive is buying an airplane. Below that is buying a fraction of an airplane. You can do it with boats and homes and same idea.
So let's say you have a partner. So for example, a CJ3, which is a Citation Jet 3, holds 6 people. 7 if you bring Mike and sits in the commode in the back. Is about post-COVID for a one that you buy between $3 and $4 million now. But they were between 1.7 and 2.5 before COVID.
Yeah.
But that's a big chunk of change. You buy half of that.
Yep.
Okay. Now you got a payment on you put about 30% down. You have a payment on the mortgage on half of it. Plus you have hangar fees, pilot fees,
fuel fees,
and then there's also the engine program. Engine program means that each of those things is about $1.5 million or $1 million a piece, and you can't get it insured or even financed.
Well, and maintenance, right? Like
Maintenance.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So, talk about why now. Why didn't guys like you come up with this 10, 15 years ago?
Well, it's relatively a newer industry itself. So it's not like it's they just started really in the 80s, the whole charter industry. So it's not like it's a brand new industry. So it's really still developing.
Yeah.
The technology of it is still developing as well. So there's a lot of new products that are coming about now that people don't really know much about. They're semi-private is becoming a big piece of this now.
What is semi-private?
What does that mean?
There's a few big operators. The biggest one is called Jet Suite X, JSX. Now they operate out of Carlsbad. They're
Told me about this, James.
Yep. It's where you're not going through TSA. It's a 16 to 30 seat airplanes. You buy your ticket like commercial, but you're going out of private hangars. So JSX is a great service.
So you can fly. You can go to the tarmac, get in the plane,
And go.
save the
Door to
time,
door,
but not pay for the private part of it.
Yeah, they're regional airliners, but you get a little bit of that private jet experience.
Okay, so right now in the private world jet experience, you don't have to own a private jet. You can charter a private jet. And an average trip to Los Angeles round trip's about $7,500 if you can get them to do it, because it's such a short hop. It's wear and tear. It's hard to get from San Diego to there. Let's say you're in New York to go to Florida. That'd be an easier private jet, but that's going to be another $30,000, $40,000 trip for you on a private jet. Then you have the empty leg. And by the way, if you own one, it's you say, well, I'm only paying, it's cost me $1,200 an hour to fly this. Well, it also costs you fuel fees and hangar fees and maintenance fees and what we just talked about. But then there's the empty leg thing. I get an email every day about empty legs. I can go to Monterey for $3,400. Now, $3,400 seems like a lot, but not when you're flying private. It takes an hour 15 to go all the way to Monterey. Crap, that's good. Except for my friends, I'm flying basically commercial at that rate, but it's an empty leg, it's one leg, and there's a bunch of hidden costs. Talk about that.
So almost 40% of all private jet flights have 0 passengers on them.
Because they're delivering and coming back.
Exactly. They're not going to leave an airplane. If you're going to Cabo, for an example, you're not going to Cabo for one overnight and then coming back, right? You're staying for a week.
Yeah.
They're not going to leave that airplane in Cabo.
They're going to go 2 hours down, 2 hours back,
and
come get you a week later.
And you're paying for that.
Yeah, you're paying for 2 round trips.
As a consumer, you're paying for that airplane to come back. Now,
I only need to go from Aspen to Honolulu. Well, guess what? Plane's got to get there, plane's got to get back.
Yep. So there's access to these empty legs that you can have access to and buy. Someone else has already paid for that airplane to go down and back.
How do you find out about these?
Well,
you can subscribe to email list.
FlyIronBird.com.
Sign me up.
But they have a lot of constraints to them. And there's repositioning charges. Repositioning charges mean that you're moving the plane from one FBO, fixed base operators, what they call those private airports, to another one.
Yep.
Talk about the constraints.
You're basically attaching to this other person's flight. So if that person wants to move their flight, wants to cancel, this flight disappears.
Okay.
It's gone. So really, we're building a new program for specific routes. So we have one for Cabo called Jet to Cabo. We have one for Aspen and Palm Springs.
Talk about real quick. I know Mike said a question real quick. So now that we've talked about kind of the overview, the overarching about the industry, what do you guys do exactly at IronBird Partners?
We help people make the right decision every time when they want to fly privately. Okay. So if say Sully comes to me and says, "Oh, I fly 70 hours. Do I want to buy an airplane? Do I want to buy a jet card? Do I want to buy a fraction? Should I just charter?" We'll take
What's the question I've asked every year for 5 years and not done a damn thing?
Yeah.
I should have talked to you
What
before.
is the most cost effective for somebody that, let's say, you, Sully?
For me, it was partnering up and buying an airplane. But it was for corporate use at the time, and it was for a million other things. And by the way, at the end of the day, as I said, my time is more valuable to me than because let's face it, I can go I can send a client, let's say a guest coming from Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
Okay. I can call him in the morning, have him to shoot the show, have him back, and at the same time, maybe have him, bring a client or two to help him out. And suddenly, this guy's an advertiser.
Can you fly me to visit my daughter in Santa Barbara in a few months?
Yeah.
Anyway, so in this, when you're splitting it, you have a fraction. Do you help people find the people that are going to share the plane?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll help if you want to buy a fraction, if you want to buy just a charter one at a time. We'll help you.
So you do charter one at a time, and you buy fractional, and you do the whole thing.
Yeah.
What is the difference between you and, let's say, a Latitude 33 or a Premier Air?
Yeah.
Some of the charter.
Latitude, Premier, Shoebox, these
Yeah.
are all great. It's our job to make sure you're buying with the right person. So if you may have 5 or 10 different flights, Latitude 33 may be good for one flight. Oh, but now you need a larger airplane. Latitude doesn't have that airplane, right?
Yeah. By the way, it's tough to get. If you're going to fly more than 8 people, it's really hard to get an aircraft to fly 10 people or 12 people that doesn't cost $100,000 per leg somewhere.
Yeah.
If you go past Texas.
And there's restrictions, right? If you want to take a big airplane for a short distance, they're going to charge you a premium.
Yeah.
Right? Or you want to go to this airport, oh, well, that airport doesn't take these big airplanes. They only take small airplanes. They're too short. So just making sure we're guiding people to do the right decision every time. And it's almost like where you hire a financial advisor to help make sure your finances are in the right order. We're your aviation advisor to make sure you're making the right decisions in the aviation.
And you don't have any, what I want to say, stake in the game to
Correct.
guide somebody one way or the other.
Yeah.
So you're the best person for that. Yeah.
Daniel Harris is the managing partner. IronBird Partners website is flyironbird.com. Do people even do different airports charge different fees for you to physically land?
If you go to LA
on their tarmac.
So if you want to fly to LA, you have a choice of flying in Santa Monica if you have a turboprop because it's not long enough for a jet.
Okay.
Or you can go to Van Nuys, or you go to LAX. LAX is going to charge you a premium to go right to LAX. Right.
And their fuel's more expensive. So now
Because it's LAX. And
This is stuff
it's
that
going to
people
the
really
car
never
dealership.
grasp,
It's
like,
going to the car dealership versus going to your automotive service company down the street.
Yep.
It's retail versus
There's Hawthorne, there's Burbank, there's there's a million of these other small airports that are. I mean, the U.S. is really well developed with their airports, much better if you compare that to Europe or Asia. There's not that as many airports that you can use like we have in the U.S.
So what do you say to the small business person? Okay, or let's take the two ends of the scale here. You got a corporation that flies a ton. And then you got a small business person that could use it for consulting or whatever. How do you advise each of those differently?
From the small business person, one of the big things that they're taking advantage of now is the 100% depreciation law. So now that 100% depreciation is back, now I think every business should look at, all right, well, I travel. I'm spending $4 million, $5 million on a tax bill. Could I spend that? Could I invest that money in something that's going to get me to see my clients, see my plants?
Now you guys are nodding your head. Does that make sense to you?
1,000%.
Then why does this not make sense to you? Because I've had this conversation before. Then why, after a certain income level, would you not pay a higher mortgage payment versus to get a higher write-off versus just paying the taxes? You're going to pay the mortgage company. You're going to pay the government.
Right.
I'd rather pay the mortgage company.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? It's the same philosophy there. It's an offset.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a business tool, is what really you should be looking at it as.
Who should and should not charter in that lower business range? Because I think many of our viewers are not major corporations. A lot of our viewers are folks that have small businesses, but they've thought about this. And sometimes it's just for a vacation.
Yeah.
But who's ideal and who's not so ideal?
The gap between first class and private is big. So if you are a first class flyer, but you want a one-time really special occasion, and instead of paying $2,000 or $3,000 for that flight, you're going to spend $20 once or twice a year, then you can charter once or twice a year. If you're a large corporation and your CEO is making large amounts of money, in that time that you're losing 2 to 3 hours every single time your CEO travels,
More
that
than
time
that.
is money. It's really
When
important.
shouldn't you fly? Who should not absolutely consider it? Is it because it's got to be someone who travels pretty frequently, and it's got to be someone who has the wherewithal to do the business class, first class, because sometimes, I mean, you have to look at the risk-reward ratio on this, right? If it means you're going to pick up a $200,000 check tomorrow, if you're there in front of them just to say yes on a sales function, or lose a real estate deal, it's worth taking that risk.
Traveling internationally on a lot of the first-class commercial providers is actually a great experience. You're in a big suite. You're
laying down.
The services
I'm
are
nodding like I
are
know.
fantastic.
My daughter, so I updated my daughter and her husband. They're leaving on their honeymoon today. They're going to Shanghai, then to Tokyo, and on their nickel. I was able to upgrade them for just a few $1,000s so they can lay down and fall asleep. As we speak,
best.
Yeah.
Yep.
Across. So, but to your point, it's a pretty good experience. I get to go in the United Club Lounge.
It's nice.
I'm not
Compare
really
that
wasting my
to-
time. I consider it part of the experience.
Yeah. To a $200,000 or $300,000 Gulfstream that you need to go. I mean, that's
what it's going to cost. If you go international from LAX let's say, to Europe.
Yeah, it's starting at 150 to 200,000.
Yeah.
And they don't need to stop along the way. They have enough fuel on board to get them there.
Well, it depends on the
like
aircraft.
older Gulfstreams. Gulfstream 4, which is like one of the most popular airplanes you'll see in charter. That needs to stop. To get to London, you need to stop on the, usually it stops
Texas
or even when you're going, depending if you're going up north or Sweden or London, you're stopping in, Massachusetts or, kind of that upper tip, refueling and then continuing on.
Okay.
Yep.
I got a question for you real quick.
Yep.
Because I think this is what is fascinating because you start talking about the money side. If someone is flying from Scottsdale, Arizona to Hawaii, what's the stab on something like that? If let's say a family, guy had an exit strategy, he's celebrating his
you're probably
50th
looking
birthday.
100 to 150.
$150,000. Is the difference between flying from Scottsdale to Hawaii more expensive than flying from, let's say, Los Angeles to Hawaii?
Slightly more, but not much. But if you look at like New York is a much more efficient route where we talked about empty legs.
Okay.
So Hawaii, when you fly to Hawaii, that airplane has to come back. It's not picking up another flight. But New York is a much more efficient route for aviation. So Scottsdale to New York, even though the flight time's not that much different than Hawaii, maybe it's an extra hour, but instead of paying 100, you're probably paying 40 or 50. So because that airplane's going to drop you off, it's not going to charge you to come back. It knows it can pick up another person. So there are some more efficient routes, coast to coast, and then kind of that north to south up the East Coast. Those are a little bit more efficient.
As far as your company goes, talk about a typical client for us. Like, what does that look like? Is it a small business guy, a medium business guy?
Yeah, it's
Also
probably
what's the main person?
a medium business guy around 100 to 200 hours, or people that are just starting to get into aviation. They had an exit in their company, or they're starting to retire and they decided they have enough money now they're going to move to private and they want a little bit more guidance.
And you're saying you either have an option of buying a plane, buying a fraction of a plane, chartering a plane, or doing an empty leg.
Yep.
Are those the four metrics? Is there any others I'm missing there?
No, those are the four main ones that you can do.
What is post-COVID was interesting because as you saw, people moved out of the cities to the suburbs. Private jet sales went to the roof during
Blew
that
up.
time.
Yep.
Has that, much like real estate never really drops down. It kind of just goes even, then goes. Is that the same thing with aviation?
Whole aircraft sales, so used airplane values skyrocketed, right? It was the only time people were making money buying and selling airplanes. That has kind of dipped a little bit, and now it's almost plateaued. It's maybe trickling down a little bit, but the values are still probably up where they took a 30 or 40% jump. They're still probably up historically 20%.
I'm going to say this to James East, because James East, my bass player, is from the very famous East family. All pilots. Do you have a question, James? I mean, I know you're listening. There's anything curious? Because this is right up your alley, right?
JSX, that's my go-to right now.
Yeah.
Because it's affordable.
What? So and then James and his brother Nathan introduced me to Honda.
Oh, the Honda Jets, those are great.
So talk about that, because you're basically
Honda makes a jet?
Oh my goodness, and it looks like a Honda.
Yeah.
It does?
Really
well, I mean,
cool
it's very efficient looking inside. It's
Of course it is.
It's not a lot of cushy stuff, but man, it is. They're coolest tools around.
They call it a VLJ, a very light jet. It's a 4-seater, so it's small, but it has a bathroom, which some little 4-seaters don't.
That's huge.
And the way that they've designed the engines are based on the wings, where most airplanes, almost all private jets, have their engines on the fuselage. This one's designed for engines on the wing. They make it a little bit more efficient, so it's lower cost to operate. It's not, you can't really take it coast to coast. You can, but you have to stop maybe twice.
Okay.
But it's a much more efficient airplane. You can buy it in the sub 4 million range. It's great for people that are starting off.
I want a
First of all,
Honda
you
jet.
need your own television program on the network, number one.
Absolutely.
Number two, you need to come on here at least once a month with us and spend an entire hour. Because it's fascinating.
It's fun.
Comparing.
It's awesome. Daniel Harris is the managing partner, IronBird Partners. More importantly, flyironbird.com. They will take care of you and help you avoid the pitfalls. Hopefully.